All right. Hello and welcome to Around the Block presented by Tron DAO. My name is Firoz Lakhani and I'll be your host today. We'll be speaking with Sipan Vardanyan, co-founder and CEO at Hexens.io, as well as Vasco Felner Pinto, VP of Ecosystem at Multichain.org. Before we get into the conversation, I do have a quick shout out to everyone who's been busy building during this beautiful summer that we've had. I know it's been a little bit hot, so a lot of us have been indoors building things. The second season of the Tron Grand Hackathon just concluded earlier this week on July 25th, and we've had over 1,800 verified submissions already. So congratulations to all those people that submitted. We're excited to get through those submissions and see what kind of cool, innovative new projects we have running on Tron and BitTorrent chain. I do also want to give a big thank you to DevPost. They've been an amazing partner this season, an integral part of our success. And we're looking forward to our final and third season for the year, launching in September. Stay tuned for more information coming on that soon. All right, so let's get into it. So today, like I said, we're going to be speaking with Sipan Vardanyan, co-founder at Hexens.io. Hexens provides security advisory services, including compliance and security audits, blockchain audits, which include smart contracts, blockchains, cryptography, exchanges, wallets. They audit everything. They provide full-scale penetration testing as well as cybercrime and blockchain investigation services. And then we will be speaking with Vasco Felner Pinto, VP of Ecosystem at Multichain. Multichain is actually a leader in facilitating cross-chain interoperability. They currently support 56 chains, I believe, including Tron and BitTorrent chain, as well as over 2,500 tokens. So let's get right into it. Sipan, if you don't mind starting us off, give us a brief overview of who you are and what you do at Hexens.
Of course. So, yeah, Hexens is actually 8 months old, but me and my core team of security engineers is spent the last 10 years of their life working together on different cybersecurity issues. So previously, actually, we were providing services mainly for Web2 companies, but Hexens focuses the blockchain field and, of course, Web3 by itself. And yeah, we provide like top-notch cybersecurity services, and I believe we cover most of the possible services and expertise that anybody would need, starting from like social engineering tests and awareness training and ending up with offensive security services like penetration testings and smart contract and blockchain audits. Yeah.
So from the ground up, you guys do everything security related. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, kind of. We actually focus on the most difficult and complex cases, like, for example, involving like novel cryptography, zero knowledge proofs, or like this kind of things.
That is zero knowledge is very big topic right now in the market. So
Yes.
great, awesome. And Vasco, welcome to the call. If you can tell us a little bit about Multichain and what you do.
Of course. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, Feroz. So Multichain, as you said before, is the leader in cross-chain bridging. So we work with around 56 chains, but we keep adding new chains every week. So maybe this week will be 57, who knows? And yeah, I mean, we've been around for 2 years now. We began as any swap, but we quickly turned into bridging. And here we are now. Myself, I was in a traditional finance before this. I used to work in fixed income and banking, but 2 years ago, I became crypto pilled. I mean, I've been in crypto since 2017, but full-time working in crypto since 2019. And I mean, it's been a pleasure, and I can't go back now, you know.
I definitely understand that. I got deep into crypto last year. I wanted to learn how it worked, and I started learning Solidity and development. I wanted to see the nuts and bolts, and yeah, I can't look back. I can never imagine not working in crypto again. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. So I do have a question. Speaking of multi-chain and cross-chain protocols, what do you see as a major challenge in this multi-chain future? Like, what do we need to do to help secure protocols? I know you work with, like you said, 56 chains, and you're adding more every week, right? So security must be a major concern. You're adding all of these vantage points, all of these chains. So what do you see as a concern, and how do you guys view security in this space?
So security for multi-chain, I mean, once you're a protocol securing a few $billion and hundreds of millions of volume in daily transactions, security needs to be a priority. And for multi-chain, it is a priority for sure. Everything we do is audited. We're audited by some of the major players in the space, like Trail of Bits, Snowmist, PeckShield. We have been open source ever since the beginning. We at Multichain, we believe in decentralization. We believe in open sourceness. We believe in everybody that wants to use our product needs to know what's happening on the back end, needs to know how it works, why it works like that. And there's an idea, a theory which is called the Lindy effect, an effect that's called the Lindy effect, which says that something that has not happened is least likely to happen in the future. And that applies very much to a product that is open source, because a product that is open source, securing billions in value, and we also have a unified bounty of up to 2 million. So if something doesn't happen, every day that doesn't happen, it's least likely to happen. And we work with several security protocols. We have even an insurance fund that takes 10% of our fees. So yeah, I mean, security is a main priority for sure at Multichain. And as you said before, we need to focus a lot of that, especially as we are in 56 chains and working with several projects. And yeah, it's been a priority.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? You want to make sure that your users feel secure, and so security has to be a critical aspect. So jumping to you, Sipan, for users, when they look at new projects in this space, what do you do to recommend for people? What do you recommend for people to do their own research when it comes to securing their money, securing their investments, right? A lot of people have gone over the basics, like you want to see their website, you want to read their white paper, and you want to make sure their contract is audited. What does that really mean, and is that enough for customers that are looking at new projects to join?
Well, I would say it's really a difficult question, but it's not only about the smart contract security, and this is basically what all the space is focusing. And for the users, yeah, of course, I would recommend to always check the audit reports, and especially check if the audit actually covered the whole project. So even if we're talking only about the smart contract, so sometimes projects just don't spend enough attention and money for the audits, and only covering what they think is crucial for the project. Of course, you should check out all the audit reports, maybe have a look at the findings. And I always think and thought that the projects actually in Web3, when it comes to a single point of failure, which is smart contracts, you should really not limit yourself by one audit firm. So of course, yeah, I would diversify the risks there too, because isn't the Web3 is all about decentralization? It should be in security too, I guess.
Yeah, that's taking it back to what Vasco said, right? So I would say Multichain is a very secure team if their first thought is to have multiple auditors looking at what they're doing, multiple, top of the line auditors, because they want to make sure they're secure. So you make a very good point. When a company or a project or a team of people is actually focused on security, that's very obvious, right? You want to make sure that they're looking at all aspects of their project, and they want multiple people to check their work and make sure that everything is secure. So jumping from that to something that I would want to know as a new builder in this space, right? I don't have much of a view of how to make my project secure. So what advice would you have for somebody like me that's building something new in this space, and I want to make sure that my project is secure and that my users are going to feel secure using my project? What advice would you have for new builders?
So I would say that actually a lot of projects suffer and going live much later because they do not approach the cybersecurity issue from the beginning, which they actually have to do. Because These top-notch cybersecurity firms, they actually have a lot of backlog, and you cannot just come to them when you just finish the development and ask for audit. You will wait in a line for a few months, as your project will wait a few months till going live. So yeah, first of all, I would say plan your security audits when you start the development. And what can I add to this? Yeah, actually make research, understand what is your technical, what is your project about? Find the security professionals and teams that are especially good in what you do, in what you build. Because not everyone, for example, can audit some difficult systems. And yeah.
Okay. So you know what? I do have, speaking of security, we were talking about cross-chain and multi-chain interoperability. So that's another big aspect, right? Is we want to know that if we're using our assets cross-chain, say I'm launching on Tron or BitTorrent and I want to send my assets, use them as collateral on a separate chain or something similar. I'm going to throw this one back to Vasco. Do you have any thoughts of what the benefits are of being able to use cross-chain and multi-chain protocols and what risks there might be when doing so?
So yeah, in terms of using cross-chain, I mean, I couldn't be more bullish on cross-chain. I've been as I told you before, in AnySwap almost since the beginning, and we as a team, obviously Multichain as a team, has always been this believer in a cross-chain, and that in the future, and we believe that in the future, you'll be using cross-chain without even knowing you're using cross-chain. So for example, you could be using an app on Ethereum, or you could be using an app on Tron, and actually be interacting, for example, with BTTC or with any other chain, or even with a lot of chains. So for example, if you were to do a transaction, you're on Tron, and you want to do a transaction from USDT to Ethereum, you could actually tap into the liquidity of Ethereum, you could tap into the liquidity of BSC, you could tap into the liquidity of BTTC, and all of these innovations, I am sure, will allow for more capital efficiency, will allow for better pricing for users, will allow for cheaper transactions for users. So, for example, if we're talking about games or any other project that requires a lot of transactions, if we're talking about, obviously, these alternative L1s, they're going to be much cheaper than doing the transaction on Ethereum itself. So if we can move all of these transactions from this basis layer that is Ethereum into chains like Tron or BTTC, it will allow for much better, much cheaper transactions, and obviously better pricing for users. In terms of security itself, as I said before, it all relates to the security of the bridge and the security of the chain itself. So obviously the chain needs to be secure and needs to work well with it. It cannot have huge reorganizations, have any other problems. But in the end, the biggest problem is looking at the bridge itself and making sure that if there is a problem in one chain, it doesn't spread around to the other one. So you need to look at, so for example, we have multi-chain, we wait and we look into the chains, we analyze the chains, we see if there's a chain maturity, if the chain works well. So if we're talking about mature chains, we allow for some stuff that we don't allow on least mature chains, because otherwise the danger, for example, of a certain cross-chain bridge in a certain chain failing could actually affect the other chains. And so we need to be careful about that, and we need to make sure that the risk doesn't spread across chains. And if there is a problem in one chain, it remains in that chain.
Okay, so you make a very good point there, and that kind of leads me into just a follow-up question on that, right? So you operate a router, a bridge, right? A protocol that allows interoperability. And you're focused on security, and you're focused on making sure that you don't allow a snowball to happen. But who's to say that another bridge isn't going to make that mistake that you're so carefully avoiding and allowing that chain reaction to start? Would that still end up affecting you? And what would you do in that scenario?
So it It happens, and it has happened in these last 2 months. I don't want to give any names from chains that have had problems with this, and especially of bridges that have had problems with this, because obviously we're talking about competition. It's not good to say names, but it has affected a lot of bridges. So what we need to make sure is that we have active. So we need to keep looking at the on-chain data 24/7. We need to have analysis of anything that looks suspicious. We need to look at reargs. If we see that the chain is having some reargs problems, we've even had to pause the Ethereum bridge because we were not sure if there was going to be a possibility of a fork. So we need to keep an open eye at anything that happens in any chain at any point in time. Then, as we said before, obviously the priority should be the chains that could. So for example, the liquidity router is only in some chains that we feel are mature to have this liquidity router. And so we need to keep an eye on these chains and make sure everything is going all right. We have a limit for large transactions. So everything needs to, obviously, we have some steps that we follow through on these transactions.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for doing your due diligence. I like using protocols with people that are very passionate about what they do, and they take a very technical look at how they secure their protocols. So I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. I do want to follow that same question up with Sipan. I know you work in security in the blockchain space. So specifically with a lot of these bridges that offer similar services, what do you think is a common thing that people need to look out for when looking at bridges to use to cross assets? Because there's a lot of people that are offering similar things right now.
Well, first of all, I would say that the bridges are actually in a high risk category for every security specialist because of the very, very wide attack surface. And for the hacker, the smaller the system is, the harder to break it because you actually have nothing more to look at. And when it comes to bridges and cross-chain protocols, it's actually a very long talk, and I would say it's the highest risk category in the blockchain right now. And of course, those projects should have especially high security.
Okay.
Yeah, I go on, but with all the tech details.
So we only have an hour today, Sipan. So maybe we'll have another conversation just about cross-chain security. Awesome.
Can I just add something? I agree completely with Sipan on this. And we at Multichain, for example, we believe that you should make the bridge, and our bridge is as simple as it can get, because if something is very simple, there's not as many attack vectors that are possible. So for example, if you talk about ledgers, the hardware wallets, they're simple as possible for that purpose. So if it's simple, there are less attack vectors for it to get into.
Yeah, and we already can see that statistically, bridges and cross-chain platforms already became a target for the hackers. Like, look at the news,
That's true. That's been definitely one of the scarier parts of the industry. It was something that I've been interested in for the past year since I really got into the back end of crypto. I wanted to see how to make things work cross-chain. And as we've seen these solutions and bridges pop up, we've also seen a lot of security flaws that have been popping up. And so it is, as much as it's the future, that's what scares people, right? Is how are we going to know if it's secure until something happens? And when something happens, it scares people from wanting to try it. So it is kind of a double-edged sword with innovation that we have here. So I'm going to take it just to a little bit lighter note. Sipan, what do you see as the coolest or most exciting things coming out of this current bear market that we're in? Everybody's, the hype is gone, and so now a lot of people are busy with their heads down. So I know I'm excited to see what comes out of it, but is there anything in particular that you look forward to seeing?
Yeah, I'm actually excited about the balance that finally going to come to this market, because I'm not talking even about the salaries of developers, of auditors, of every single person who work in Web3. And, it's really very obvious that the market is really unbalanced right now. And the bear market, I guess it's a necessary pain. So we actually have to survive this in order to like achieve mass adoption, you know.
That makes sense. Everything is a cycle, right? Every kind of market is a cycle. We did have a lot of hype, and so this was going to happen sooner or later. But you know what? I want to throw the same question back to Vasco. Do you have anything in particular that you're looking forward to seeing after we're out of this bear cycle?
No, for sure. I mean, just like Sipan, I also agree that this bear market is good for something like, I believe that there's a filtering going right now on crypto development. I believe that there were a lot of products and a lot of projects that really shouldn't exist. They were sort of ghost bull run projects. And now we are getting this filtering that is bringing the quality projects up and removing all of the non-quality projects out. But the thing I'm most excited about, it's actually about something that we've been developing and we've been working on with several projects, which is cross-chain messaging. Just what I was talking about, all of this cross-chain interoperability, we are going to see some very cool stuff come out of this. And I mean, just any message, like the idea is that we have something called any call, which allows for you to send any message and interact with any contract from any chain to another chain. So anything is possible with this, really, and I'm excited to see what developers are going to come up with. And some of the stuff I already know that's coming, and I can't talk about yet. But we're going to see some cool stuff for sure, and I'm excited to see.
That's really a great point, because what I missed is actually what I'm really excited about this bear cycle is actually that a lot of people gonna build cool stuff, and a lot of people gonna be educated and really gonna enter the field, because one of the major bottlenecks that Web3 right now is suffering, and it's of course people. So there is not a lot of again, developers, security engineers, and like in general, people that are involved in the Web3. And I believe this is the right time to start educating them, as we do in Hexens, for example.
Awesome. You know, that actually, I'm going to use that to segue into my next question. What do you think is going to be the next big thing, that the next mass adoption tool that's going to come to crypto? Like, I know lately a lot of my friends have been talking about GameFi. It was something that kind of started and it fizzled out pretty quickly, right? Everything was very simple. You're rewarded with tokens. You don't really do much actual interaction. And so that's what, you know, my nerdy friends want to do, is they want to see a AAA studio game come out that's based on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. I don't know if that's really the next thing that's going to happen. I would love to see that myself. So Sipan, you're already on the screen for me here. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think is the next big mass adoption tool that we're going to see in crypto?
Oh, I have no idea. You know, predicting this kind of stuff is not my job at all, because I'm getting it wrong, you know.
Oh, you know, last year NFTs really took off, right? They took off way faster and way bigger than anybody expected. And so I just like to see, you know, shoot it in the wind and see what I think.
Oh, yeah, all this NFT stuff. I actually don't like the idea of the art NFTs. And maybe utility NFTs will find their place in this world. But yeah, forgive me, people, but like buying a monkey for 120K, like seriously. You could buy like 5 or 6 real monkeys with that same money.
It's funny because I also don't understand NFTs and art NFTs especially. I mean, in terms of NFTs, utility NFTs, obviously we at Multichain, our staking uses actual NFT, so it's a VNFT for vMulti. But art NFTs has been a phenomenon that I was not at all expecting to grow as large and become as popular as it became. And I expect that the thing that's going to bring mass adoption is also going to be something that we DeFi maxis, we security maxis are not going to expect. So for example, Stepan, like these guys, they came out of nowhere, and now everybody's talking about it. I remember talking with my father. My father came to me and talking, "Oh, have you heard about this app called Step?" And I was like, "How do you know like what Step is?" So I think that retail, and especially people that are outside of crypto, will be going into something that we are not expecting to become big. And I'm excited to see. Maybe it's a huge GameFi project. Maybe it's a huge NFT project. Maybe it's something that allows some sort of interoperability between banking and and DeFi, who knows? I hope it's this one especially. And we're seeing some huge banks getting into custody, and assets like oh my god, so like a cross-chain, not cross-chain. So assets.
Assets.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you make a good point here, right? Us crypto native people that are so deep in the industry may not be the ones to guess what's going to be the next big thing, because we're already in it and we know what we want to see get adopted. So sometimes it's hard to see what's coming when you're so deep inside the industry. But GameFi, I feel like, is going to be one of the major things, especially because a lot of people are utilizing their art NFTs or different types of creative NFTs to be represented in games and to utilize them for other things, and even evolve them to have different features to go along with them and things like that. So they're getting a little bit more creative with they're trying to add utility, at least. I don't know if it's real utility or if it's something that's more creative based and it's more entertainment. It's more entertainment more than anything, honestly. I'm trying to find a value in these art NFTs because it has so much value put into it, right? And so I just like to see where the mindset is of the people that are using this technology and putting this much money into it on a daily basis.
I just want to add, like, I remember playing, I've always been a very big video game player, and I used to play some online video games. I don't know if you're familiar with RuneScape, but assets in that game actually have real life worth. And there are people that live off the earnings from the game. So if something like that is possible in a traditional game, I imagine it will be possible also for a Web3 game. And I believe that in a Web3 game, the control will be more towards the people and less towards the developers, for example. So I'm excited to see if somebody comes up with a game with as high quality as RuneScape or World of Warcraft, but Web3.
Now that you mentioned working for the users as opposed to for the developers, I do have a shift in topic, right? We're talking about market value, so that the value is what somebody will pay for it. So NFTs have a certain value because people have been trading them for a certain value, and all of that hype kind of went away, and you've seen the market drop. So with that topic, when it comes to market rates for people working in the industry, I know this is a conversation that we kind of got into last time we were all talking. I'm just curious on your thoughts and whatever you guys genuinely want to speak about this. The market, the job market in crypto has been on fire. So where do you guys think that's headed? Do you think it's going to stay that way forever? You think people are going to be making insane amounts of money in crypto? Or is it simply because the demand is so high and the supply is low right now? And do you think that's going to change very soon? What are your thoughts, Vasco?
So yeah, I believe that just like any other market, it's a supply and offer market. I believe that crypto right now, there is not as much supply as it is. So there's not as much offer as it is demand. I meant supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So there's not as much supply as it is demand, exactly. And with all of this demand, obviously the pricing and the salaries are higher. But the salaries are also higher because you need to attract the best capital that's outside of crypto. So in Web2 right now, if you're a developer especially, you can get a very large salary. So we need to attract these very good developers and turn them into Solidity developers, crypto developers. And so I believe that's why right now the pricing, obviously the salaries are high. I don't know if they'll stay at this rate but I'm sure that since we are in an industry that it's going to grow, at least in my opinion, mm-hmm. I believe that we'll maintain some good opportunities for new users new workers to come into the industry.
Awesome. I know, especially in tech, we've seen a lot of boomeranging happening lately, right? A lot of massive hires and massive layoffs within 6 months, a year. So that obviously nobody wants to see that. especially if rates are so high and the rates are going to kind of normalize and people are going to start getting let go because of market rate issues. That's not good either. So we definitely want to see a nice balance here. Sipan, what are your views on this? I know the security industry is a little bit different when it comes to the market, but what is your view on this?
Yeah, actually, as I said before, it's all about balancing, and I hope during this bear cycle it's gonna balance out, because what is happening right now and what happened, like what was the state 6 months ago, it's actually ridiculous. A few months back, we were interviewing a junior security engineer, like Solidity auditor, and he was asking for something around 200K annually, like the junior one. It's not okay. It's really not okay. And what is happening out of this? It's actually, when the average audit for the smart contract in the market right now exceeds like tens of thousands of dollars for one engineer per week, you actually got this situation when a lot of companies abuse this. A lot of newborn cybersecurity companies come up. They're literally doing nothing, or like hiring these juniors with really high salaries, charging 10 times more than they're paying those. And it's really a chaos. So the situation is really chaotic, and it's not helping in any way. I would say even it's leaving the Web3 in the very unsafe place. Because of this high demand for the audits, for the development, for the marketing in the Web3, because of this high demand, market is actually suffering. So this bear cycle is gonna balance it out, because more and more people gonna come, and of course the salaries and the prices for everything gonna come down. Because without that, we cannot achieve the mass adoption, which is, I guess, the goal for all of us. Right, for all the believers in the crypto, I would say.
Yeah. And can I just add something?
Please.
Yeah, I agree completely with Sipan on this, and not only talking about security firms. I believe that a lot of these crypto firms have been kind of brainwashed by this bull market, by the easiness, like how easy it is to raise money, how easy it is to hire people, and they just go on hiring sprees, hire a lot of people, and then when we get to the bear market, we start see fees going down, companies making less money, some of them not even making money, just burning through cash, and then they get into this position. Okay, we need to fire people, and that's just like Feroz, or like you were saying, Feroz. It's not good for the industry at all, because these people, they might not come back, they might leave the industry and go to, and so it's not, or it has, bull markets don't bring organic growth. So I think the organic growth happens on bear markets when these quality projects come, and just like Sipan says, like the mass filtering of these non-quality projects.
Yeah,
the euphoria is gone, and people like start living their lives and not like not coming after these huge numbers, a lot of zeros in the salary, etc. And I would even say that people are not even serious about what they build while it's the bull market. Nobody is serious about it while it's bull market. There is, I would say, the majority of the so-called security engineers in Web3 right now, they're actually developers who had like a very extremely fast crash course on security. And this is something that should not be here, because security mindset is not something that you can create out of every developer there. And this is what people are actually trying to do, to pursue this really high demand on everything in the market.
I think that's kind of what runs the market, right? What's going to pay the most, what has the highest demand. That's where people start kind of turning, and that's what they want to learn, because obviously, most people are there to make the money. Myself,
I wouldn't agree. So sorry, but for example, I'm from field of security. I'm going to talk about security,
Of course.
There is a lot of companies, I'm not going to name them, but they're abusing the demand by hiring developers, giving them a fast course for security and releasing them to the market and selling the audits for really, really high numbers. For example, I don't know, 50, 60K US dollars for a week for one engineer. And they did
Yeah.
not even provide the quality, of course, because like 3 months ago, there was developers. They all were developers.
That's
So
true.
yeah, this is actually not helping the market. This is crushing the market. And yeah, I see a lot of like positive things in this bear market.
Yeah, no, you make a lot of sense. And so well, the point I was getting at is, like, I wouldn't say people are there only for the money. If you're there only for the money, that's a problem. But you are there because it's a cool, innovative new industry that you're interested in, and there is money in it. If there was no money in it, it would be hard for me to survive, even if I loved something. So it is good that there's money in it and people are getting interested in the security aspect of it. For people like me, I really want to learn the security and understand it so that when I build something, I can make sure that it's secure. But having those crash courses helps people like me, while it also maybe gives other people a way to act like they know more than they do, and they may not be able to provide the same type of security analysis that I actually need to secure a protocol or a project that I'm putting out. So those are two very different aspects. I do think it's good that more people are getting into security, even if it's for a short, crash course. If you learn something, the things you build after that will hopefully be impacted from that mindset and with what you've learned from that, from that crash course. I like to see the bright side. I'm looking for a silver lining here. I do like to see more people get into security, because it's the one thing that's dissuading a lot of new people from adopting the technology.
Look, of course, I would love that too. Of course, I would love that too, because like, as I said, one of the main bottlenecks is people, is the quantity of people. But if it's
Yep.
gonna be in a price of projects losing money to hackers, that's not right.
It's not okay. That is
But
not
I agree
okay.
with the rest, right? I'm the rest.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Well, I do want to wrap it up here. I do want to give one more shout out, just to wrap it up, to all of our submissions to the Tron Grand Hackathon. Our season 2 just wrapped up this last week. We have over 1,800 submissions, so we're excited to get through those. I want to give just a couple of minutes here to Sipan and Vasco to wrap it up. Vasco, do you have any last words you want to say before we end this call?
Yeah, I would say that continue building. Like, I remember in 2017, from 2017 to 2019, I sort of left the space, and I regret it a lot. I wish I had stayed throughout that bear market, and I urge you to stay in this bear market, continue building, join some project that you believe in, build something that you believe in, and I believe that we are early in an industry that has a lot of potential, has potential to kind of sort of change the world. It might change just a bit, but it might change a lot, who knows? And by being early in this industry, you might get a chance to get a piece of that pie, And thank you so much for inviting me again, Feroz, and the Tron team. And if you have any questions about Multichain, up onto our Telegram, and I'll be there to answer you.
Absolutely.
Completely agree with Vasco. Do what you do with passion, love what you do, and it's gonna be cool.
Awesome. I do want to give one more thank you to both of you, to Sipan and Vasco. Thank you both so much for coming and speaking with us today about what you guys do, about the industry. It was a pleasure speaking to both of you. You're both very passionate, smart gentlemen. Excited to have you in the industry. This is exactly what we need, right? People that really care about what they do and they want to see this industry succeed. So thank you both for everything that you guys do. Thank you for speaking with us today. And we'll hope to talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Thank you for inviting. See you soon.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Bye.